Picture this. You've been working at your job for 2 years. You've taken on extra projects. You've covered for coworkers. You've never missed a deadline, and then you see a job posting online for the exact same role you're doing. Starting salary, $15,000 more than what you make. Your heart drops. You know you deserve a raise. And yet, when you think about asking for it, your throat tightens, your palms go sweaty, and you suddenly have a million reasons why now isn't the right time. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you're there right now. You work hard. You're reliable. You're the person everyone comes to when something goes wrong. And yet, when it comes to asking for what you're worth, your voice disappears. Here's what's strange. You can advocate for other people. You can negotiate for your team. You can argue passionately for a project you believe in. But when it comes to yourself, suddenly the words get stuck. You tell yourself things like, I should be grateful I have a job, or they'll notice my work eventually, or the classic, now's not the right time. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That voice in your head telling you to wait, to stay quiet, to not rock the boat, that voice isn't your friend. And it's not based on reality. It's based on a deeply ingrained psychological pattern that's been running in the background of your mind for years, maybe decades, and today we're going to name it. We're going to understand why it's there. And most importantly, we're going to give you the tools to finally override it. Welcome back. Let's get started. Before we fix this problem, we need to call it by its right name. In psychology, the persistent fear of asking for what you deserve, whether that's money, recognition, or respect, is rooted in something called worthiness wounding. It's not about negotiation skills. It's not about market rates. It's not even about your boss. It's about what you believe you're allowed to have. And here's where it gets really interesting. This belief that you don't deserve more rarely starts in adulthood. For most people, it was planted much earlier. Think back. When you were growing up, was money a source of stress in your home? Did your parents argue about it? Was there a constant feeling that there was never enough? Or maybe it wasn't about money at all. Maybe it was about worth. Were you praised for being good, quiet, agreeable, not causing trouble? Did you learn early on that asking for more, expressing a need, or taking up space was somehow dangerous or selfish? Research from attachment theory shows us something powerful. The way we relate to money as adults often mirrors the way we learned to relate to love and safety as children. If love was conditional, if you had to earn it, if it could be taken away, then money can easily become the same thing, a symbol of your value. Something that can be given or withheld depending on how good you are. So you work hard. You stay quiet. You hope someone notices. And when no one does, you don't ask. You internalize it. You tell yourself you didn't deserve it anyway. This isn't a character flaw. It's a survival strategy. And your brain has been running it on autopilot for years. Let's look under the hood. Because this isn't just psychology, it's biology. When you anticipate asking for a raise, your brain doesn't just see a conversation, it sees a threat. And the part of your brain responsible for processing that threat is the amygdala, your brain's alarm system. The amygdala is ancient. It evolved to keep you safe from predators, not from performance reviews. But it can't tell the difference between a tiger and a boss. To the amygdala, both are dangerous, and when the amygdala perceives danger, it triggers the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. Your heart rate increases. Your palms sweat. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your prefrontal cortex, the logical planning part of your brain, literally gets overridden. It goes offline. That's why you can't find the right words. That's why you freeze. It's not a failure of intelligence. It's a biological hijack. Now, here's what makes this even more challenging. In many people, this threat response is linked to something called the default mode network, or DMN. This is the part of your brain that's active when you're daydreaming, reflecting, or thinking about yourself. In people who grew up in unpredictable environments, where moods could shift without warning, or where criticism was harsh, the DMN becomes hyperactive. You're constantly running scenarios. What will they say? What if they get angry? What if they say no and it's my fault? You're not just anticipating a conversation, You're anticipating every possible worst-case scenario, and your brain is treating them all as equally real. This combination creates an internal experience that feels impossible to override. Your amygdala screams danger, your DMN spins catastrophic stories, and your prefrontal cortex, the part that could actually help you navigate the conversation, is shut down. That's why the advice "just ask" feels so hollow. It's like telling someone with asthma to just breathe. It's not that they don't want to, it's that their body is working against them. Here's where we need to make an important distinction. Not all caution around money is bad. Not all fear is broken. There's a healthy version of this pattern, and then there's the version that keeps you stuck. Let me explain. Healthy caution sounds like this. I want to make sure I'm prepared. I'll do my research, I'll know my worth, I'll time it right. That's strategic thinking. That's your prefrontal cortex working. But the stuck version sounds very different. It sounds like, I'm not good enough. They'll say no. They'll think I'm greedy. They'll fire me. I can't handle the rejection. What if they're angry? That's not strategy. That's fear wearing the mask of preparation. Psychologists call this the impostor cycle. You do the work, you achieve something. Instead of internalizing the success, you dismiss it. It was luck. They needed help. Anyone could have done it. Then you wait to be discovered. When you're not, you feel more inadequate. You work even harder to prove yourself. And then the cycle repeats. Harder work, less recognition, deeper exhaustion. And here's the most painful part. Over time, this doesn't just affect your paycheck. It affects your identity. Every time you stay quiet, you send your brain a message. I'm not worth asking for more. And over time, that message becomes a belief, and that belief becomes a life. But it doesn't have to be this way. So how do we break the cycle? How do you actually sit down, look someone in the eye, and ask for what you deserve without your nervous system exploding? The answer isn't willpower. The answer is strategy. A strategy that works with your brain, not against it. Strategy number 1, name the neural hijack. The first step is recognition. Before you even think about the conversation, you need to train yourself to notice the physiological response. When you feel your throat tighten, when your palms get sweaty, when your mind starts racing with worst-case scenarios, pause and say to yourself, this is not reality. This is my amygdala. This is my nervous system reacting to an outdated threat. I am not in danger. This is just a conversation. This is called cognitive reappraisal, and neuroscience shows it actually changes how your brain processes the threat. By naming the response, you move activity from the amygdala back to the prefrontal cortex. You take the wheel back from your anxiety. Strategy number 2, separate your worth from their response. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to detach your self-worth from the outcome. Let me say that again. Your worth is not determined by whether your boss says yes. You are not more valuable if they agree, and you are not less valuable if they say no. This is incredibly hard to internalize, especially if you've spent years tying your value to external validation. But here's the reframe. The ask itself is an act of self-respect. The courage to name what you deserve, that's the win. The response is just data. Strategy number 3. The script, prepare, don't perform. When you sit down to have the conversation, don't wing it. People who freeze are often people who feel unprepared. So prepare 3 things. First, your number. Research what the role pays in your industry. Know the market rate, have real numbers, not feelings. Second, your evidence. Write down 3 concrete contributions you've made, not I work hard, but I led the project that increased revenue by X. Third, your ask. Keep it simple. Based on my contributions and the market rate for this role, I'm requesting a raise to X amount. You're not begging, you're presenting. And then here's the secret. Practice it out loud, in front of a mirror, with a friend, until it feels natural. You're not memorizing, you're building neural pathways, so when the amygdala tries to hijack you, your prefrontal cortex has a clear, practiced response. Strategy number 4. The 10-minute rule for the ask. If you're still freezing, Use the 10-minute rule. Tell yourself, I can handle anything for 10 minutes. Start the conversation, give yourself permission to get through the first 10 minutes, and then reassess. By then, your nervous system will have started to calm down. The initial spike of cortisol peaks around 10 minutes, and then it naturally begins to drop. You just need to buy yourself enough time for your biology to catch up to your courage. Strategy number 5. Desensitize yourself to no. And finally, prepare yourself for the no. Not because it will happen, but because if it does, you need to survive it. A no is not a rejection of you as a person. It's a business decision. And it's also data. If they say no, ask for feedback. What would I need to achieve to get to that number? This turns a rejection into a roadmap. It also positions you as professional, not emotional. When you put all these psychological pieces together, there's a much bigger message here than just a few career tips. Asking for a raise isn't just about money, it's about reclaiming the part of you that learned to stay small. It's about dismantling the belief that your needs are inconvenient, that your worth is negotiable, that you're somehow asking for too much. You're not asking for too much. You've been accepting too little for far too long. And here's the part that's both humbling and powerful. The people who ask for raises are not smarter than you. They're not more talented. They're not more qualified. They just learned something you haven't yet. That asking is a skill. And like any skill, it can be developed. The first ask is the hardest. It gets easier. And every time you do it, you retrain your brain. You teach it that advocating for yourself is not dangerous. It's empowering. That's the real shift. Not just the number on your paycheck, but the change in how you see yourself. From someone who waits to be seen to someone who shows up, speaks up, and takes what they deserve. And maybe the most human part of all this is that every one of us carries patterns we never chose. We didn't choose to feel unworthy. We didn't choose to fear rejection. Understanding where that fear comes from doesn't magically erase it, but it does take away its absolute power. Once you understand the pattern, you can start to rewrite it. So I want to ask you something. Have you ever stayed quiet when you knew you deserved more? What was the story you told yourself? And are you ready to try a different one? Drop your experience in the comments. I read every single one, and this is a conversation we should all be having more openly. If this video helped you understand why asking for what you deserve feels so hard, or gave you the courage to finally have that conversation, go ahead and hit like. Share it with a coworker or a friend who you know is also quietly working harder than they should, hoping someone will notice. Your small act of sharing today might be the push someone else needs to finally speak up. I'm the Shadow Mind. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so we can keep exploring the hidden corners of psychology together. Thank you for spending your valuable time all the way to the very end. You deserve what you're worth. Don't forget that. Goodbye for now. See you in the next video.